More than $22 million in cash is the take tonight. U.S. Customs agents say the record seizure comes from an illegal money laundering operation they've been after for 13 months now. Channel 6 Action News reporter Dave Game has the details of how the money laundering operation was cleaned up. He joins us now live from our newsroom with that. Dave?
Well, J.D., standing there in the ballroom at the Doral Hotel today, it looked like a lotto winner's dream. But in reality, it was a drug dealer's nightmare.
If you refuse to believe drug dealing is big business, here are over 18 million reasons to change your mind. In a ballroom at the Doral Country Club, agents armed with automatic weapons stood guard over an $18 million wall of cash, built with bricks of 10s and 20s. It's part of more than $22 million seized by U.S. Customs agents right here in Miami, the biggest single cash seizure in U.S. Customs history. For over a year, federal, state, and local agents say they diverted the cash from a massive money laundering operation intended to turn drug profits from Colombia, Miami, and New York into spendable cash.
These are the dollars that have come off the street for drugs, for narcotics, and I think that it is very significant when you realize that these small amounts of currency add up to $22 million.
Investigators aren't saying too much about the specifics of this case. They say that with an ongoing investigation, to talk too much could endanger other arrests.
But in general terms, agents say the dealers would use wire transfers to send cash to banks in the Bahamas and other countries after first moving it to local counting houses through an elaborate system of specially equipped cars left empty at drop-off points to be filled up with this cash. The alleged driver of one of those cash cars, Guillermo Hernandez Castillo of Miami, was stopped Thursday with almost $500,000 in his car, the only arrest so far. Agents say the loss of all these profits should have the drug traffickers reeling.
Well, they certainly take it right in the mouth, and there's no question that that kind of a blow is not dealt with easily.
You might ask why the agents would talk about the case if they couldn't give much in specifics. Well, frankly, they were patting themselves on the back. They say that this kind of an arrest could never have taken place if all sorts of squabbling hadn't been overcome and the agencies started to work together to the $2.
I think they worked together quite well. Dave Game, thanks very much.
Just presented a vulgar amount of ill-gotten gains. This time, however, it will not pay the criminals who collected it. As Eyewitness News reporter Michael Pudney tells us, more than $22 million now in the possession of federal and state narcotics agents was put on display in Miami.
SWAT team members with automatic weapons at the ready stood guard outside because of what was in $18 million in seized drug money, part of a $22 million drug sting.
The public has said, why don't you go after the big guys? Why don't the government agencies work together? Why don't we get better results? Well, I submit to you Exhibit A.
It was some exhibit. Piles of cash, stacks of cash, bags and boxes of cash. All of it seized by a combined force of local, state, and federal agents posing for the last year as drug launderers.
The large amounts of money that accumulated were actually accumulated in counting houses, and then the money was placed into vehicles and transported to drop sites.
Despite the enormous amount of money seized, only one arrest has been made so far. A Mariel Cuban caught last week with $421,000.
Arrests and witnesses.
Law enforcement officials say they can't shut off the flow of drugs coming into this country, but they can shut down the flow of drug profits going out. And today, those profits totaled more than $22 million. In West Aid, Michael Putney, Channel 10, Eyewitness News.
And customs authorities in South Florida say it is just the beginning. Weighing over 1.5 tons, the money in denominations as small as 10, 5, and even $1 bills. Today, Customs Commissioner Carol Hullett explained what that might mean.
$22 million that the Customs Service seized in this operation. Over $11 million was in $20 bills alone. There were $5, $10, and $1 bills that were too numerous for me to identify the amounts. That means that this was street money.
Although officials have made only one arrest so far, they expect this investigation to lead to further arrests and lots more cash.